TAS, Tool Assisted Speedrun. These are speedruns of games that are created to show theoretical, perfect gameplay. These runs use tools like save states, slowdowns, and glitches to achieve the most optimal run of a game possible. To the average person, most of these tricks and exploits come off as almost magical and don't make a lot of sense. Today, we're going to dive into Super Mario 64 DS and explore how a TAS run works. We'll be checking out two different runs. The first one is in the any % category, which was completed by Sharky91, Really Tall, and Alectorn. That's right, this is much more different than a normal speedrun, which typically only has one person in charge. Most TAS runs have multiple people working on different segments of the game at once. So let's just snap into it, shall we? Normally when you start Mario 64 DS, you run up to the door, only to be told that you need to find a key, and then you eat this bunny and take it from him. Which frankly, seems really unnecessary to be eating a wild animal, but whatever. This method of entering the castle is extremely time consuming. Now first thing off the bat, check out the bottom screen. The touchscreen will always be used for movement. That's because the D-pad only moves in 8 directions, which is quite limiting, while the touchscreen has more control. So the first thing the TAS does is slide kick up this waterfall, slide back down, and hit the wall of the castle to clip to the bottom of the floor. This down warp is what is called Heaven's Portal. Trying to explain what and how Heaven's Portal works is extremely complicated, so I'll simplify how this glitch works. The method to perform this glitch involves doing a slide kick, butt slide, slip, or dive into a glitchy corner or wall. Doing one of these at a certain angle will send the character either up to the ceiling or to the floor of the level. It all depends on the player's Y position. What direction you go in is based on if you're moving at a downward or upward vertical speed. Now keep in mind, I am very much simplifying this one trick. I have a video below that explains it better, plus more videos which further explain some of these glitches and tricks. But anyway, after landing in the water, Yoshi does a long jump and 2 jumps. But let's go back to that long jump. It looks a little funny, doesn't it? Well, this is actually a glitchy long jump. Now, usually when you do a long jump, you have to be facing the same direction that you're moving in, which makes sense. But if you turn really fast and long jump, your speed lags behind the direction change, which allows you to long jump at this weird angle. This is something you've probably done by accident when playing normally, and it can be used to the TAS's advantage. So after that, they run over to the basement door and head inside. The first star that's tackled is in Lethal Lava Land. As you may predict, the quickest star to complete is the red coins, and glitchy long jumps are done here since the angles are a lot faster. After that, Yoshi heads into Shifting Sandland to grab 2 stars. The first one is Kleptos, and again you'll see several glitchy long jumps used, and the side of this pyramid is slid down to save even more time. Star 2, however, is insanely cool as it uses a glitch called Star Cancel Glitch. Here's how it looks in action. Yoshi parks at the star atop the pyramid, eats it, and bounces off the fly guy all at the same time, which cancels the celebration animation. By jumping with the star in your mouth, you can essentially delay the celebration as long as you want unless you walk/run or stand still for long enough. So moving on, Yoshi spits the star out inside the entrance to the pyramid and then grabs it while entering the loading zone. The star is counted at this point, so after entering the pyramid, they just exit the course. This glitch saves an immense amount of time. If they didn't do all this, they would have to watch Yoshi celebrate getting the star, jump back out of the painting, then jump back in, and then finally exit the course. Now the reason they're exiting the course is to warp back to the main floor and access the 8-star door. We only have 3 stars, which normally wouldn't let us in, but thankfully we can use a trick called corner clipping. This trick is kind of in the same vein as Heaven's Portal. Some of the corners in the game are glitchy and will let you go through a wall instead of through a portal. Once this is done, Yoshi long jumps along the seam of the level and finishes by long jumping into the loading zone for the Goomboss battle. I'm not sure why the loading zone is large enough to be able to do this, but it works for us. Once inside, lots of optimal slide kicks and jumps are performed, as well as 2 glitches. The first one is the GRATE UPWARP glitch. By jumping underneath this grate in just the right spot, instead of hanging in place, you warp to the edge of the gate instead. This happens because the game thinks you're entering a wall, so you're forced to move up. After that, they head towards a pole to do a trick called fast pole grabbing. When you normally grab a pole at high speed, your character plays an animation before you can continue. With this trick, we can fool the game into thinking Yoshi is moving at a low speed by turning our speed negative. This is done by grabbing the pole, holding backwards, and before you come to a full stop, press backwards again so your speed ends up being negative. This allows you to instantly climb the pole and it saves a bit of time. Yoshi then makes an egg out of a Goomba and brings that into the boss fight. It's honestly really cool that you can even carry the egg into the fight at all. You would think it would spawn out once entering the new area, but I guess not. Now this fight uses a couple of different tricks as well. Goomboss is immediately hit with the first egg, then hit from the back with the second egg because it's actually faster to hit Goomboss in the back, and the final hit revolves around Yoshi jumping backwards and spitting out the Goomba at the earliest moment. This triggers two different glitches, a spit reset and dialogue in air. Now, a spit reset is something that can only be done with Yoshi. When you spit an enemy out, there's 2 frames when Yoshi is switching between the spitting and walking animation. Within those 2 frames, you can jump, backflip, spit, or even long jump. Since Yoshi hit Goomboss during these 2 frames of the spit reset, that allowed the dialogue box to pop up while we were in the air, essentially tricking the game into thinking we were touching the ground. Now, why on earth is all this necessary? Well, once you stop talking to Goomboss, the key appears. Since we have those 2 frames, they're used to lick up the key while also falling down to our death. So after exiting the course, it's time to free Mario from his room. Going through the character room, Y-Run is used. Now, Y-Run is something you already know how to do if you've played Mario 64 DS. By holding Y for a second and then going forward, you get a huge burst of speed, which is actually faster than running. What's cool about Y-Run is you can carry this momentum for longer if you're in the air. It's also useful when going through doors. Instead of slowly walking after entering a new place, you charge forward instead. Once Mario is unlocked, we go right into the Jolly Roger Bay room to complete another glitch. Mario triple jump dives up to this pillar, grabs it immediately, and starts long jumping across the seams of the room. After several more precise jumps, Mario is launched into the loading zone to go upstairs, so now we don't have to fight the first Bowser. The next thing to do is to grab this bunny while on the stairs in this exact spot. After getting this key, we can perform an NPC clip. This is fairly similar to corner clipping. By using Y-Run into the bunny, we can talk to him while also clipping out of bounds. This works because the wall collisions are disabled when a text box appears, therefore the bunny can push you through the wall. Now that Mario is out of bounds, we can simply make our way to the endless staircase while we're underneath it and jump right into the loading zone. So just like that, we're at Bowser in the Sky. This level uses a couple more glitches we haven't covered, including frame sliding. When you go up a slope, your character slows down over time, but with frame sliding you can avoid that. By pressing backwards, then no direction every other frame, you can keep your speed intact. The rest of this level is extremely impressive. Y-Run is used frequently to keep the speed up, and frame sliding with triple jumps and wall jumps make Bowser in the Sky look like a playground. The final part of the game is of course tackling Bowser. After each throw, Mario triple jumps into the air and grabs Bowser's tail to save a little bit of time. It also does a dive reset to grab the final star quicker. This glitch is very similar to the spit reset. You can do this by performing a side flip, wall jump, or triple jump, and with the right amount of negative speed, you can dive in the air and trick the game into thinking you're on the ground. And that is the Mario 64 DS TAS. It's fairly short and only 3 stars long, but it is filled to the brim with amazing tricks and glitches. But this is just the first task we'll check out. Next is a jumpless run completed by Adil. That's right, you can beat the entirety of Super Mario 64 DS without jumping. Let's snap into it. So a lot of this run is kinda slow going because the fastest method of traveling is slide kicking or diving. There are a lot of cool tricks though that are done here. We actually start by going for Chain Chomp Star, which might seem impossible without jumping, but by slide kicking and grabbing the ledge, you can get on top. You can actually ground pound without jumping too on this pole because you can slightly enter the wall hitbox to do it. For the next star, Yoshi eats this Goomba and holds onto it. The Goomba is used to get an additional bounce to reach the Womp King. That's something that's really cool about this run, is the Goomba is used a few times to extend our height for a little bit. And a Goomba is used here again to get just enough height to climb up this ledge. Frankly, this idea is utilized in a lot of really cool ways. I don't know how anyone thought of this. The last glitch in Womp's Fortress is actually one anybody could do, which is called Block Clip. You'll do this by standing next to the wall, zooming the camera in and turning. You want to make sure the camera isn't affected by any collision, so you'll glitch through the box and hit the switch. Moving on to Peach's slide, to go down or slide the fastest, we actually want to slide down on our belly. That's because we'll be able to recover and skip a bit of the slide. A few stars later, we head into Jolly Roger Bay to do another glitch called water storage. We do this by entering JRB as Yoshi, but using the Mario cap. Then we'll go ahead and break this box to reveal the Koopa shell, then purposefully get hit by a Goomba and run back and eat the shell. After that, we'll run towards the water, and at the right spot, we'll spit the shell out on the first frame. After riding the shell for a bit, we can clip under the water as if the water doesn't exist and ride into the ship. That's because we started riding it after being in a swimming animation. Some stars later, we're inside Cool Mountain going for a star that Mario is supposed to get. Yoshi grabs Spindrift and throws him down the mountain. Afterwards, Yoshi falls down with him and bounces off the Spindrift. This is then used to get star 6, which you wouldn't think could even be done jumpless. A few more stars in, and we're about to do the most ridiculous Heavens portal. That's right, you can actually do one while this floor is constantly falling. After falling for a long time, Mario falls onto a seam and jumps into the loading zone for the basement. Following that is several more stars. A lot of them are glitches we've already seen, or is just really optimal movement. After nabbing a load of stars in the basement and upper floor, now is the time to go to the very top using Heaven's portal. Mario uses this portal to land right inside Rainbow Ride. This first star is really interesting because Mario uses this pole to manipulate the Fly Guy to follow him, and once on top, he bounces off the Fly Guy and uses negative speed to land on the platform. We do need to get into Tick-Tock Clock for a couple stars as well, and it's really funny how we have to use Heaven's portal just to get there. And finally, to finish off the final Bowser, you have to use Yoshi because he's the only one that can do the Goomba trick from earlier. And well, that's pretty much it. The jumpless run is pretty long, but is insanely entertaining, and again, it's quite shocking that you can even do this. So with all that, make sure to check out all the TASers in the description, and of course the original TAS runs are linked below too. So which game do you want to see next? Make sure to let me know down below. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time.